Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hey everyone, it's Cami and Elizabeth back on the Biz Bash podcast. Today is episode 57. We switched up our plans a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in our country and the world right now with coronavirus. So we're going to talk about what to do when times are tough and how to navigate coronavirus as a small business owner. We're doing something kind of different and special today because Cami and I can actually see each other and y'all can see us all too if you're watching this live on Instagram. So when we're recording this episode, it is Friday, April 3rd. We decided it would be fun to go live and let our audience kind of get a little introspective or inside view on what it looks like when we record a podcast. Because normally Cami and I can't see each other at all. It's just kind of like a really long day of like feeling like we're on a phone call. So it's kind of nice to be able to like look over and like see her over there. So
I know, now we're waving at each other like a bunch of dorks. But anyway, yeah, we're live on Instagram as we're recording this. So the rhythm of this episode might be a little bit different. And we want to also read some of the comments as people talk back to us in the chat. Hopefully you guys better say stuff back so we can read those aloud and make it like more of an interactive type of podcast, because this is something that's affecting all of us. I think this pandemic is so weird because in a good way, it's kind of unifying, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm someone who looks for silver linings and like the positive side of things. And I'm like, this is probably the most unifying event we could have ever experienced. And we are experiencing it, and we're all experiencing it in different ways. And some of us are doing better than others. Some of us are just confused like me. I'm just like, what is happening all the time? So I think this is a good way to just have a conversation and just be vulnerable and open and talk about what we're doing with our business, kind of like our mindset shifts and strategies for keeping our business afloat during this difficult time, and just kind of checking in with you guys to see how you're doing, because that's really important too.
Yeah, so feel free to interact with us through the Instagram live as we're talking, because we would love to answer questions as they come up, or as Cami and I kind of go through the topics and the pointers we want to talk about today. We'll try to loop you guys in as well if you're dropping any comments and want to participate. So Cami has written out this really wonderful list of things that you can do during this time. So I'm going to go ahead and let her dive in. Oops, I said it. Dive in and start with the first one. We're trying not to dive in this year for the podcast, but
no diving in. We feel like everyone always says dive in, so we're trying not to say that. But as we're kind of going through these things, you guys can go ahead and pop in the chat and maybe tell us, how you're feeling right now or how this has affected your business. Just like give us a little I don't know, let's all just do a little check-in. Let us know how you're doing and like how your business has been affected, and we can talk about that. But my first thing on this list of things you can be doing right now when times are tough is to connect with community, which is what we're doing right now. So it's literally perfect. I know, I wrote it. So anyway, so connect with community. This is the time for us to really lean into those virtual hangouts. So lean into those Facebook groups, find those entrepreneur buddies who are going through the same type of struggle as you are. Do those FaceTimes, come with us on lives. This is the time where we're all feeling kind of isolated, obviously. So digital community is more important than ever.
And we had a lot of fun. Was that last week? Time is dead and meaningless anymore. So I can't remember what anything
Time is dead.
It's like March the 8,000th today. It's really April, but it still feels like March.
March 8,000.
But we did a pajama party in our Facebook group. So the A to Z directory has been a way for people to still connect and be together. And that's part of our A to Z directory membership. But I think a bunch of other groups, whether free, whether paid, or membership, have been really good at supporting other creatives. Or even if they can't necessarily support them, at least saying like, hey, me too. Like, I'm going through the same thing. Or like, I understand what you're going through and what you're experiencing. So that was like really enjoyable. I think that was one of my favorite like lives we've done in our Facebook group so far, was like the pajama party vibe, where we did one like late at night and just like hung out. It was great.
I know, that was so much fun. So we might have to do another pajama party because I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to read some of these comments too. So Good Enough Design Co. says she's brand new trying to start her greeting card biz right now, and she's overwhelmed with where to start, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Totally feel you. It's a crazy time. Julia K. Calligraphy says, I personally feel like it's given me the time to focus on things that I haven't had the time to focus on. I solidified my branding and redid my website, which is huge. And I love that because that's a little positive thing. Yay, cheering you on. Yeah. Lauren Ligon Design says, as a side hustle, I've had so much time to make the big moves I want to make. Actually, you guys are making me feel a lot better right now. But yeah, we can talk about the greeting card one right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that if you're getting started with greeting cards, that's tough because of retailers being closed. Like any like retailer that's kind of like a paper goods or like boutique that's more just like house decor or something like that, they're not going to be open right now, which means those companies probably aren't buying things to restock their space or buying from new vendors. But you can do so much on the back end. So my suggestion was going to be to keep designing, like design a ton of greeting card designs and then get your catalog put together. Because I've heard that that is like the next like big step, especially if you want to go wholesale at some point. So what if you just like come out of the gate after all of this is hopefully calmed down, you know, in the next few months, and then you can come out the gate being like ready to go essentially. So even though you might not get to do like the super exciting part, quote unquote, of like launching a design and like selling it right away, there's so much you can do to be building on that.
Definitely. And like that's basically what I'm doing right now, working on my greeting card line because that's something where I'm kind of shifting my business towards more product side. So I've just been like pumping out designs that I haven't had time to do. So it's been like a little bit of a silver lining because I'm like, oh, I never have time to actually work on my business. I'm always like working in it. So it's been kind of nice to be able to do that. So I'm just like working on getting that ramped up as much as possible. So that is like something you should definitely be doing, even though wholesale sales are obviously down right now with stores being closed, but retail is still doing pretty good because people do want to support small businesses. And now it's, you know, you got to send a card or FaceTime. You can't go hang out with someone. So I think there's like a little bit of like a pickup movement when it comes to snail mail. And it's just like a nice little special way to get in touch. So like really lean into that. And how can you be serving your customers by giving them a chance to love on their friends or their family from far away. So that's something you can just kind of like take the marketing perspective and spin it on that.
Yeah, I guess I should have said like direct to consumer retail when I was saying, because I was kind of mixing up like retail and wholesale, blah, blah, blah. Because I was thinking like actual physical like retail boutique, like
right,
people who buy wholesale. But yes, Cammie's right. Like the retail direct to consumer, like selling through your website, it can still be done for sure.
Definitely. It's just
People
a little bit
still
trickier.
launching like spring collections and like moving forward and doing all of that. Like I don't feel like anyone should feel like they need to stop.
Yeah, I think it's good to have like some sense of normalcy too in our world because literally everything has stopped, like sports and all these things that we're like normally used to having as like background noise and watching. And so if like there are no new sales or anything happening, we'd be like literally living in a vacuum, like because it's almost like we based our time on what's happening in the world or like what events are going on. Those aren't there. So that's why it feels like March 3072th. So having those like spring sales, new collections, Easter cards, Father's Day cards still gives us this like human connection that we can build upon and like understand what time of the year it is, which is really important. Like it feels like we're preparing for Christmas right now because everyone's like home and making cookies and making bread all the time. Like it's just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next point, and then we can go ahead and loop back through comments again on Instagram Live.
Okay.
So the next one that we have written down for what to do when times are tough is just continue to show up and lead with compassion. And it's okay for you to be vulnerable. Honestly, one of the people I've seen do this really well is Britt of Swell Press. She has gotten on and talked on Instagram a couple different times just about like what this really looks like for her business. Because by being vulnerable, you get to share so much of how you're dealing with different things. And I think that offers some like comfort to other people when you don't realize that you're alone. So that kind of goes back to the whole point with community. but we're like definitely all freaked out and feeling weird about this and not quite sure how to move forward. And this is just a time where everyone needs to be giving each other extra grace for customers and clients. So this means that it's okay to be vulnerable, I think, with your clients too. I think still from a professional standpoint, but when you're dealing with different like supply closures or supply chain is different now, or things are slower, or like these big companies where a lot of us like might buy envelopes from are like closed for like a couple weeks. Like, how do we deal with that and how do we move forward? And part of that is just showing up, being vulnerable, and being honest too. I don't think there's any point for us to try to like hide what's happening, you know? Like our clients are well aware of like what's happening in the world. And if we're just like honest with them about how it's affecting our business while still providing them a solution for like, oh, I can't find this, but here's X, Y, and Z that we could maybe use instead, then you're still continuing to serve them well.
Definitely. And at this time, I mean, I think we're all like, some of us don't want to post on social media where you're just like, I don't even know what to say right now. Like, I don't know what can I say that's going to be like added value to anybody? How can I what can I post on Instagram? And honestly, none of us know what to say right now. We're all just like, what is I mean, some of y'all are like great with words and know exactly what to say all the time. But at this point, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know if I should be like my usual optimistic, positive, like very crazy, happy self, or if that like seems tone deaf when there's all these people suffering and things that are going on, or should I like try to become more somber in my approach to marketing or selling, or, you know, and I think there's like a balance where you can be like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm freaked out, but you know what? I'm still going to be happy about it. Or, you know, I'm going to be really sad about it. Whatever, like you're feeling, just being like totally honest with it. And for me, like I'm the type of person who just like gets like super like crazy when I get stressed out or like weirded out. So I'm like on TikTok now, making all these weird videos. And like, that's my way of just like brightening someone's day with like a stupid laugh or whatever. Even though I don't know what to say. So I'll just be like, you know, send a card. Easter's coming. You need to show love to your friends this way. Just like little things. I'm not like getting on and spilling my guts about like how we can change the world because I don't know. I don't know the answers. I don't know the solution, but I'm doing the best I can to just show up and say, hey, I'm still here if you're still here. And I think there is like some good that can come from that to just be like, I am still here doing the thing. And to me, like when I see other people still doing the thing, I'm like, that's inspiring. They're still doing the thing. I'm going to still doing the thing. So that might just be all you need to do is just literally just show up and be compassionate with people. Like Elizabeth was saying with our clients right now, things are shutting down, things are closed. So we have to just kind of like, it's like going through an obstacle course, trying to make solutions right for everybody. You know, sometimes like, and like working with those postponement announcements or cancellations and how you're going to deal with that. And I think right now is the time to like, really, really have that compassion and grace. Like with my clients who are doing postponements, I'm not charging like another round of design fees or anything like that, where I'm just doing things at cost because I know it sucks for them. It sucks for me too, but I'm doing what I can in my business without hurting my own business. I'm giving where I can. And that's like, I think making a huge difference too. Yeah. Lots of stationers are doing that, which is awesome.
Yes, it's really cool. There's been a whole like long list of people, really starting with Sierra Claire. I feel like she was kind of the first to put out those digital postponement templates. And she didn't even like charge for those, you know. She had the digital ones are free to download and use. And then I think she had some other ones that were maybe like $15 to download and use, just like really affordable for people who needed to change their timeline. So it's been cool seeing how so many vendors in the industry have stepped up to help one another. And I'm just the one over here that's floundering, like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's like really cool watching everyone help.
And I'm like, look at them. They're so great. What am I doing? I'm over here like trying to make bread, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, an easy way to approach this, you guys, is just like go into each day being like, how can I help someone today? What's the one thing I can do today to help somebody? And I'm like, you know what? Someone needs a cute bunny card and that might be my way to help. Or you know what? I'm going to do this stupid TikTok video and that might be my way to help. I don't know. So whatever that looks like for you, just ask yourself, how can I help someone today? And maybe that's the best way to start leading with compassion and figuring out how to show up on your social media without feeling completely tone deaf to the situation.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's okay to continue to post your things that like sell, you know. It's okay to have a post that is like, well, Cami just did this. Like, my new bunny cards are in the shop. Like, Happy Easter or Happy Easter, or whatever puns she's using right now. But I think in some ways, like some of the normal posts, the ones that we would see day to day if this wasn't happening, are sometimes like a relief. Because I think for me, it's like when I scroll through my feed and it's all this beautiful imagery, but all everyone is talking about is like something super serious that we're already completely like overwhelmed by and bombarded by in the news. Sometimes it's nice to just be like, oh, so and so did their spring collection, or so and so dropped their bunny cards, or oh, she's still like booking clients for invitations. Like, the world still needs beauty and the world still needs normalcy. So I don't think you need to be like compelled to like post anything like super serious or introspective. Like, it's okay to still keep it simple.
I know. Like, shout out to Simply Just Marie for still launching her spring collection, because honestly, that made me so freaking. I'm gonna have to cry right now. I don't know why, but it literally made me so happy. I was like, look at her cute little bunnies. Oh my! I'm in this bunny thing right now, but all of her pillows, and I was like, she is just like still killing it, and people are still loving it, and it's totally fine. It just made me really happy to like see something so joyful and like happy colors and bright colors and spring colors and be like, the seasons are still coming. It's still going to be flowers. It's still going to be Easter. It's still going to be great. And it made me really happy.
Yes.
So keep doing what you're doing, you guys. You're bringing joy to people, even if it doesn't feel like it. Like, people do need that.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yes.
They need it so much.
Are you ready to push the envelope in your stationery biz and finally get the answers you're looking for? We're bringing together industry leaders in one place with a virtual conference anyone can attend.
The Stationer Summit is an online game changer with session topics that are for stationers by stationers. And with 18 different educators, you can't afford to miss this. We've got all the names you love, such as Swell Press, Design House Amora, Papel & Co., Design by Laney, and so many others. And you guys, they are here to bring you the answers you can't get anywhere else.
It's time to break down the walls of the stationery industry and open the door for anyone and everyone. We believe there is room for all of us at the table, and we're offering you a virtual seat. And of course, we'll be there too, talking about everyone's favorite topic, pricing for custom stationery.
During 2020, registration for the Stationer Summit will be opening twice at the price of $497. This includes all the educator sessions as well as additional Q&A educator recordings that have been added to the student portal.
Join the 900 plus students that have offered the summit. Visit stationery.com for more information on registration dates and to get on the waiting list.
So your next point, Cami, about reaching out to your clients, I feel like I kind of like weirdly combined those 2 points, but there's still some good stuff here.
Exactly. So yeah, our third point right now that you need to be doing if you have custom clients is definitely just reach out to them, because they're probably going to have questions about how to handle invitations. Like, should I send this? Should I not send this? When do I do this? Do I need to send a postponement? And I've had this happen with a handful of clients, and I'm like, I don't even know what we should be doing. Like, this is like unprecedented. I'm sick of that word, by the way, but it's unprecedented. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if we should send a postponement or wait to do an invitation. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to calm down. I'm going to like take as much of information I have and figure out like the best solution for them, because I am still the expert in the situation more than they are. Like, I'm still the one they're trusting to know what is happening in the wedding industry and what would be okay and what wouldn't, more than they would. So I'm like, I'm just going to take that and do the best job possible, and if you need to ask some people in a Facebook group, if you need to talk to, a friend who's doing the same thing, totally reach out. We all are willing to help you and like figure out how to navigate things. And even though we might not all have the answers, we're all willing to help. So, send them to Sierra Claire's templates, or I think Holly from Stablewood Paper Co. is doing some stuff too. So like, reach out to these other people who are already doing things and be like, hey, what should I do in this? And just kind of like, let's rally together to make this as easy as possible for your clients. And then I also want to say too, I was a little overwhelmed with thinking about like reaching out to my clients, because I was like, well, if I ask them like what do they need help with? What if they tell me they need all these things? And then I don't have the space or the financial capability in my business to give them that for free or at a discounted rate, because I genuinely can't. And then I look like a jerk by saying no. So I have been framing my emails to clients as more of a statement rather than a question, so I can just be there to give them support without ignoring my own boundaries as a business owner. So I'll be like, hey, I'm thinking of you at this time. I know things are really, really difficult, but I just want you to know, like, I'm thinking about you and your wedding. I'm here if you need me, kind of thing, versus like, what can I do? And like making them more stressed out probably than they even were. So just like a little note of support, like even with my clients who are getting married at a later time, I sent them emails and was just like, hey, I'm thinking about you. I know this is probably added stress to your wedding, but you're top of mind right now. I'm praying for you and your wedding. I'm praying for you and your future husband. I hope this is going like really smoothly and that keeps it as stress-free as possible. And just like letting them know that I'm trying to be there for them without explicitly asking, what can I do? And I mean, you can totally do that too, but maybe some of us need that boundary right now because we are also dealing with some crazy stuff in our life, with things going on. It's not just like it doesn't affect us. So just being aware that you need to protect your boundaries too. So hopefully that's helpful.
No, that's perfect. I really like that idea of offering it more of a statement as I'm here. Something that's been really interesting to see is that I didn't like even realize, because everything is such a domino effect, that all these spring weddings that have been like postponed or moved are rescheduling to fall, which has then put pressure on fall weddings in a different way, because now people who originally had fall weddings are like, oh, do I need to send out my invitations like 4 months early instead of 2 because like X, Y, and Z person that I know like rescheduled their wedding for like the same time. So like the influx of like weddings hitting the fall season has like had that strange effect on like clients that had already currently had those like fall spots of like being nervous. Big shout out to Kelsey Kelly. She called me yesterday because she had a big win moment and she booked a new client for September just this week. And she said that the bride wanted to move forward and she's like, but my dad wants to talk to you first. And Kelsey's like, oh my gosh, like I'm so nervous. Kelsey, forgive me for like telling your story, but it's like too good to not share it. So Kelsey got on the phone call with the dad and father of the bride, and he asked her, like, how can you like guarantee, or can you guarantee that like your print vendors and all these like supply chains and people that you need to produce the invitation suite like won't be closed? And Kelsey's response was awesome. It was like the perfect response because she was just really honest and she said, no, I can't guarantee it. I don't know what's going to happen. But I can add a clause to your contract specifically for this instance that if that were to happen, that there would be like a refund involved, essentially, just to provide that client with that additional comfort, which I think was like so appropriate to do in this situation. And he was like, you know what, young lady, like you totally just won my business. Like, thank you so much. Like, for being so professional and really taking care of your customers and clients. And she said she forgot she had like the gratuity thing on, and he tipped her when he paid the down payment. And so I was like, girlfriend, you knocked it out of the park. You took care of your client. You assured them that there would be some sort of solution, right? Like it's not going to be her fault if like for some reason that we get to a point where nothing gets like produced, which I'm still hoping like doesn't happen because so many printers have been deemed essential businesses to the supply chain. But I thought she handled that like a pro.
Definitely. And I think like we forget as business owners, like really we're just problem solvers. Like that should be literally be our title. Like everyone's like, what is my title on my business card? It should be problem solver because that's all we're doing. It's just solving problems for our clients like in so many different ways. You can take that as deep as you want it to go, but always be the problem solver in your business. So especially at this time.
Okay. Next point. Do we have any other comments or questions that are popping up that we need to address? I don't think there have been too many that I have seen.
Pixel and Ink London said, I love your happy and bright approach. It cheers me up.
Yeah.
That's me.
I think you should continue to be like that, Cami. I think it's wonderful. Okay. So we did have some other...
I will try. Oh, crap. My dad's calling. Sorry, Pop called. Okay.
Oh, I know. It stresses me out when people call, like, especially during an Instagram live, because I'm like, it's going to ruin everything.
I know. Instagram live, podcast recording. There's people at the door.
There's
like,
always
oh my gosh,
Cammy's door.
Like too much.
Literally, like 60%
really
of the time
is.
I'm on the phone with you, there's someone at the door.
I know. Seriously, you guys. One time I locked this guy. Sorry, tangent. I locked the electrician guy. I don't know if he was an electrician guy or somebody from the city. I locked him in the backyard because I didn't know he was in there because people are just like coming and going all the time doing stuff. I don't know what's going on. And I locked him in there and then he called the cops and I thought I was going to be part of a true crime podcast. And I was like, what the heck's going on? And he's like, man, you have a construction worker locked in your yard. Did you mean to lock him in there? And I was like, no, my word, officer. Anyway, there's more to the story. I'm just going to leave it
that. Workers who are who are with the city, essentially, and there's like work behind your property happening, not just a random construction dude in your yard. But Cammy got a little snarky and locked him in the yard.
I did. I tried to get really sassy, but I was like smiling the whole time. I was like, so they were like, what is going on? Sometimes, you guys, I get so nervous talking to all these people. Like, I'm trying to be like, stay the freak out of our yard, but I have to get Alex literally on speakerphone because it always happens when Alex like leaves. They all like all these guys show up and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like thinking they're gonna kill me because I listen to all these murder podcasts. And so I'll like put Alex on speaker when he gets like really mad. And he's like, listen, you can't just keep showing up. And I'm like, yeah, what he said. Okay. Like, get it. Okay. So, all right. Let me move back to where we are. Things you can be doing right now. So the next thing is to trim the fat in your biz.
Yes.
So checking your expenses and cutting down on all those unnecessary like overhead expenses that you have, like clearing out old products. I am doing this right now. I am like looking at my my product line in a whole new light and just being like, this does not match. This is old. This is stupid. I hate this. Well, I'm very harsh, but you don't have to be that harsh to your stuff. And clearing those things out and looking at like, where is my money going? Am I part of any monthly membership things that I don't even use? Like I have a couple of things that there's someone at the door. A couple of things that I'm like, I don't even use this membership and I'm paying $50 a month for it for no reason at all. So this is a good time to like take a step back, clear those things out. Elizabeth made like this financial breakdown of all her overhead expenses. You can talk about that. Like,
yeah, I just did it in a Google spreadsheet, and then I shared it in our Facebook group. So perks of being in the Facebook group, you get to see a lot of like insider stuff for the A to Z directory membership. But
definitely,
yeah, I decided to take some time. It really only took like 15 to 20 minutes because what I did was I looked at my credit card bill and my bank statements basically to see what I was paying on a monthly basis. So I have things like Spotify, which like obviously I'm not going to cancel because like music keeps me sane.
That's essential.
Or let's see, Shopify is on there. And so that is one that's been funny for me because I like launched the Thank You Society and put it out there and then like literally haven't done anything with it. So I'm like, should I still be paying for like the website to be up? I don't know. I could cut $30 a month if I just took it down for now and then decided what to do with it at a later time. But then things like Adobe Suite that I obviously need to operate as a business. But it was actually super encouraging and comforting. Like most of the time, this actually isn't scary because it allows you to understand your business and your numbers. And when you understand your numbers, you have the ability to either remain calm or have like a little more control. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, I have less than $300 in actual business overhead each month for things that I'm paying for. Like I could continue to operate for a few months and be okay because I have enough money in my business bank account. Like I might not be paying myself like anything or as much, but I'm going to keep my business afloat and I'm going to keep it running during this time until I book my next client, until things hopefully go back to normal. But who even knows what the world is going to look like after this?
I know. So yeah, this is a great time to just like look at where your money is actually going because it can just be like, I don't know, you just turn like a blind eye to it. Put your blinders on when you're just like moving forward and chugging along. But now like just actually take the time to step back and look at it. Also, side note, Adobe was offering 3 free months just like credited back to your account for, I don't know what purpose, just to like serve their community. And it was super easy to do. I literally got on chat and I was like, hey, I want the 3 free months. That is so hard to say. I want the 3 free months. And he was like, all right, I just added that to your subscription. And I was like, sweet. Like literally took like 5 minutes, you guys. It was super easy. So yeah. So if you haven't done that, just go to Adobe and just like type in the chat and tell them you want the 3 free months.
Oh yeah, I got that too. I like went ahead and snapped that up because I was like, why not? I want to be able to save a little bit of money for sure. Okay, So I think that kind of covers the trim the fat on your biz point. Cut out something if
Yeah.
we feel like it's super unnecessary or unneeded. Hey there, fellow stationers. Are you creating custom invitations and still sending a lackluster contract that's hacked together with Google searches and generic templates? We've got you.
We've created a custom stationery contract written for stationers by stationers, and it is lawyer reviewed and approved. #LegalRockstar. The custom stationery contract template covers every stationery snafu, protects you and your client's interests, and sets up an expectation of professionalism. We've combined our previous contracts as well as years of experience to bring you a contract that covers your booty and your biz. Become a put-together pro and breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you have a contract that is easy to understand and avoids confusing legal jargon.
The custom stationery contract template is only $297, which is much less than what you can expect to pay anywhere else, and it's written by two gals who have seen it all.
Spoiler alert, it's us.
It's time to do things right. Go to bizbirthdaybash.com/contract to purchase and download your copy today. And as a special treat, use code 2020 to get $20 off. And that's podcast all caps 2020 to get $20 off.
Woohoo!
So the next one is continue to refine your workflows and processes. So start working on your biz during this slower period just to make it work even better by the time that this passes. So this means that you can go back into like Dubsado or Honeybook, whatever client management system you're using, get that cleaned up. Like for me, like with my branding switching, I'm going to have to switch over everything to like a new look and refine my forms a lot. So I have a little bit of time to do that. Clean up your website, like make those changes that you wanted to make to your website, make it prettier, make it have more information, make it into a blog. Like, I don't know, if you want to add a blog to your website and start doing some posts, you can do that. Product images are another thing that you continue to take and make cleaner. So like Cami is flipping all of these like image templates on your site, right?
Yeah. Real quick before I start talking, you guys, why don't you let us know in the chat what you are working on right now? Like, what types of things are you working on in your business to like perfect it or streamline it or refine it? Just let us know so we can get some ideas too. Maybe it's good to share what things you're working on. Like for me right now, me and my virtual assistant are working on getting new mock-ups for all my art prints. And just because I'm just like tired of the mock-ups I have, I don't feel like they look right for my brand anymore in the direction I'm moving. So we're switching all those out, which is quite daunting because I have a lot of stuff. And like I said, I'm taking out old products and getting rid of those completely and just removing them from my line. So just like cleaning up product inventory and making it look as perfect as possible. I took all new photos for my enamel pin collection because I'm bringing in some new ones and I want them to be cohesive and match. So I'm working on that, like all the product images. I hate taking images of my stuff. Like I hate taking photos, you guys. Like I don't know what it is. I like lose my mind. Like the lighting is not 100% perfect. And then I can't I get it there eventually, but it's not like an easy process for me. Like I feel like I really struggle with it. So I pretty much avoid it. But this would be a great time for me to actually take some flat lays of my suites and practice my styling because I suck at that. So this is a really good time for that. Let's see, some of you guys said you're taking classes on Instagram and image aesthetic, as well as taking advantage of some freebies right now, which is awesome because there are a ton of freebies floating around. Right, Liz Wright says she's taking a digital marketing class. Let's see. The Lefty Writer says she's taking advantage of this time to truly buckle down and redo her entire website. It's time consuming, but she's so happy with the results so far. That is huge. Hallie Coates says just starting out, trying to get a portfolio started. That's awesome. Julia K. Calligraphy says, I'm working on envelope addressing and building my portfolio and taking flat lay photos. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is awesome. Blake & Co. Design took a pet illustration class on Brit & Co. just for fun. They have free classes now. Yeah, I saw that. All the classes there are free. I think a lot of companies are offering free classes. So I think this is a really good time to refine your skills as well. Like maybe, I was just thinking yesterday too, I'm like, maybe I should challenge myself to paint every day, like just something small, because when I start doing that, I just get like better and better and better and more confident. Like when I take like a few days to start painting again, it takes me a minute to get back in the groove. But when I'm like painting every day, I feel really solid with it. And I'm like, why am I not doing that? And it's like, because I feel weird right now. But I'm like, you should just force yourself to do it. But anyway, that's my inner battle. But maybe it's time to like refine those skills too. Like it doesn't have to just be like technical stuff too, you guys. It can be fun and creative.
I'm waving to my brother.
Oh. Hi.
I felt like I had to because it's family. So those of you who can't see her listening to the podcast a week later are going to be confused. But he did one of those like little hand emojis. So I started waving and Cami was waving back like, what's happening? Why are you waving to me? Hello. Lots of you are doing website rebuilding, semi-custom collections, taking classes to refine skills, exceed expectations with customers I have right now. Oh, love it. Serve them super well.
Love it. Just married. Time. Yes, that is awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was all about refining and workflows, processes. So let's move on to the next point then. And we have to be conscious of the fact that Instagram Live will time us out at an hour. So we're like already more than halfway through that time.
Okay. That's fine. I think we can make it under an hour.
I think so. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, this next one is also kind of goes along the same lines as this. It's just like looking at it a different way. So it's do your best to not be stagnant during this time. And I know like we can feel like we just want to sit around all day or just like watch Netflix or do nothing. And you know what, you guys, that is totally fine too. And I am like a huge proponent of doing nothing. Like I love doing nothing. But I do think like for our own mental sanity, we do need to like do our best to not become totally stagnant for like a week and at a time, just being like doing nothing, because you're going to lose your mind. So I think it's just really especially important for product shop owners like to start leaning into online commerce as much as possible right now, and not just being like, you know what, this sucks, I'm not going to do anything, because that's just not the attitude you want to have as a business owner. So here's the thing. Don't do nothing, but be okay if you can't do everything. And I think that's what we all need to hear right now. So don't feel like you need to write a to-do list that has like 42 things on it and then feel horrible because you only got 3 things done. Like take that as a win. Like right now I'm like, if I do one thing on my to-do list, I need to do one thing a day. I'm like, that was good, because I am in a different headspace than I normally am. I mean, I'm still like freaking crazy and excited, but you know, it's just a weird time. And like that weighs on you. And like when you're someone who feels empathy for other people, you're feeling the weight of the world from everyone else. And I'm like, you know, I'm worried about not necessarily my own business, but I'm like, what is everyone else going to do? I'm like worried about businesses closing. I'm worried for other people. And, you know, I'm like, people who have kids right now, they're like working so hard to be a mom and a wife and homeschool and business owner. And I'm like, that is crazy. Like, I just really feel for them. So like that weight is on me. And so I think it's okay to just be like, I'm going to do one thing today. And like, that's enough. That's totally good. And like, I've been feeling really good with that. Like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for my walk. I'm going to do my workout in the driveway with my like janky weights. I'm going to do one thing and it's all good. So maybe you guys can just do one thing too. And it can be small as well.
I need to go back, I think, to making my lists every day of like, here's like the 3 things, like the top 3 things I want to accomplish today. Because if I can check those off, it'll make me feel a lot better, because I think I feel like I'm moving in like this eternal slow motion where like, and every day feels like the movie Groundhog Day, where you like wake up and you're just like doing the same day again. And every day feels like a Saturday in not a good way. Like, you know, like this like weird, like eternal, like every night I get into bed and I'm like, did I accomplish anything today? Or what did I even do today? Or like, yay, I'm going to bed and I'm going to just do another day of this tomorrow. So I feel like if I, you know, like made a list that was like Monday through Friday and I saw what I was doing each day, you know, like here's the 3 things I did for Monday. Did I accomplish them? Did I check them off? What did I do Tuesday, Wednesday? I think it's good for us to try to give ourselves like a sense of time back, because like I have totally lost mine. Like I said before, like time has no meaning. And if I could look back on the week and see that I like did some things, that would make me feel a lot better, because like right now my calendar is very empty. Like anything that was like scheduled in person was canceled. Like all of these like lunches and coffees I had with local vendors, and I was like really hitting the ground running with networking, like done. I was going to do like a photo shoot for like my branding, gone. Like all these things that were supposed to be there. So now I like look at the calendar and see all this empty space and I'm like, I did nothing when I know like I did stuff. So I think I need to start making like those physical lists again, is kind of like that checkpoint of like, okay, no, I did do something and I can feel good about that, whether it's one thing a day or three
Right.
things or 10, you know?
Yeah. Shout out to someone who's doing 10 things a day. You're awesome. But I also don't want to like you guys to feel like we're trying to guilt you into being productive. Cause I mean, this is a pandemic and no one knows what's happening. And we're all just like, what the heck? So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I still have to be productive. Like, you know, you still have to like understand like your brain cannot like function sometimes and it's totally okay. Like, so don't feel like you're being guilted into being productive. Just like do your best to keep moving forward, even if it's at a snail's pace. Like right now, I literally feel like I'm like swimming through molasses like this, you guys. And I'm just like, what is happening? But I'm doing like one thing. And I'm like, you know what? I got one new greeting card done today. Like that is something. Like that is still something, even though it wasn't like ginormous or whatever. Like I still did something. So all those little tiny things will like all those little tiny grains of sand are still going to add up to one big beach at the end of this. I don't know where that came from. But.
I just like in my mind, I hear like the Chariots of Fire song and like moving really slowly, like dun 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 dun.
I didn't hear that was the name of the song.
And I'm like,
slow motion running on the beach. I know. Everyone's like, that's it. I'm not watching this anymore. These girls are idiots. But literally that's what it feels like. So just do your one slow motion step and be cool with it. It's all good. So yeah, don't do nothing, but be okay if you can't do everything. That's kind of that point, I guess.
That's perfect. Yeah, it's just like the do not be stagnant. Just going back to that of like, try to do something.
Yeah.
And if it's not a lot, that's fine. Okay, so control what you can. What we can control right now is very little. So I think it is important to like hold on to that and do the best you can. So control what you can, and maybe this looks like cleaning out your kitchen drawers or your cabinets.
You didn't say aggressively, like I wrote in the notes.
Aggressively cleaning out your kitchen drawer. Sorry, Cammie. She wrote the notes for this episode.
It's not just cleaning out your kitchen drawer. It's aggressively cleaning out your kitchen drawer because I feel like that helps when you do it really aggressively. I don't know, guys.
Yeah, so when you look at what you can control around you, like maybe that looks like sticking to a really good morning routine. I know for me, my morning routine is shot. I was bad at morning routines in the first place. So I have given myself just grace there, like grace, 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 grace. I can control how much grace I give myself, and I'm giving myself a lot of grace. So like I don't normally get out of bed right now until like 8:30. Apologies to those of you who have kids and like hate me right now for saying that, because I know a lot of you are going to be like, haha, I am up at 5. But like if I'm up by 8:30 and showered by 9, I'm like win. Gold star. I feel really good about that. Today I controlled how I started my day and at least got up and like got showered and did all of that. And so I think for me, when it comes to like controlling what I can right now, gosh, it's really hard to like think about what exactly that looks like. But I think it's more of like being outside, taking a walk, like still getting in some sort of like physical movement is like the biggest place I have control in my life right now. Or just like doing squats in my house or like push-ups or sit-ups, you know, just like trying to like stay healthy, even though I'm like eating cereal, which I never normally do.
I love cereal so much. Yeah, like for us right now, I mean, like this, can also apply to like personal, and not just business, you guys. It's not just like, okay, we have to like figure out everything in our business right now and figure it all out. But like I said, cleaning out stuff, obviously like cleaning out your drawers and everything like that and getting things organized around the house. And like my husband has been going crazy with home projects and just doing all kinds of stuff. So he's definitely controlling things that way. And then just like sticking to my workout routine too has been like really helpful because I like stay sane by going to the gym and I don't have the gym right now. So it's just literally like using whatever we have in our house. Actually, we got some weights from this guy who let us borrow some of this stuff. So now it's like we have a full-blown gym in our driveway and I feel like really good that I still have like that release or whatever. So just being able to like control what you can. Maybe it's like, you know, I'm going to take 30 minutes. This is my 30 minutes at noon every day. I'm going to read this book for 30 minutes. And like, that's like some sense of control, some sense of like routine that you can add back in. And like, you're going to probably have to force yourself to do that because there isn't like, I go to the gym at 5, like that's my time typically, and I don't have that. So now I'm just like, I'm like working out at like 6:30 and I'm like, what is happening? So it all feels really weird. So just like taking control of the things that you can, because everything right now does feel out of control, and that will, kind of maybe help you regain some sense of like, I don't know, that you don't feel totally powerless right now, because I kind of feel that way.
Yeah, it's true. And none of us like feeling like we're out of control, that we don't know like what's happening. But that's just like the reality of the situation, is like nobody like really knows or understands like what's going on. And that is okay. But if you can add that sense of normalcy to your life, like with those routines and those times, Cami, that it's like, hey, you're not walking out to your driveway at 5 to work out, but you're at least getting in your workout, which is really important to you, then that's like what matters at the end of the day.
Okay, so now I want to like kind of switch gears and talk about like how we're handling things like financially and revenue wise with our business. So I think right now we all are like feeling like really icky about selling, but like I want to encourage you guys to not feel icky, because you can still serve people by selling to them. Like maybe you have the thing that they could actually use right now, like how to DIY your own website. And people are like, I do want to do that right now. I'm going to buy this thing. Like I want to work on my wholesale catalog. So I think I'm going to buy the InDesign field guide because I still feel clueless in InDesign. I'm like, I do need that thing right now, and I'm still going to purchase it. So how to do this is like continue to tell your customers how they can spend money with you. Like don't just start like shutting up and clamming up and be like, I have nothing important to say. I have nothing to sell. Like no one needs a cute coffee mug right now. Still just be like, hey, you know what? I still have these coffee mugs for sale on my site. They'll make great Easter gifts or whatever. Like continue to tell your customers how they can support you, because there is also this like rally movement around small businesses right now too, where people are like, support small businesses. They need help the most. And people who have the means to do that want to help. Like they do want to support you in ways that they can. Like I had one of the best sales days of my business in a really, really long time yesterday with just like my new Easter stuff. And I was like really excited about that, because while it can look really dismal and bleak, like I sold out of all my Easter cards and had to put in a new order. And I was like, oh shoot, I did not order enough.
Because how many do you order up front? Or are you willing to share, I guess?
I order like 100 up front. So I know we had a really good day. So I was really excited about that. So people are still willing to buy, but they're not going to buy from you if you don't tell them how they can buy from you. So tell them how they can spend money with you. Don't feel icky about it. I just want to like, just don't make it weird. I feel like I say that all the time with all my advice, but just don't make it weird. Like just be a normal person. Like that's my biggest advice in business, is just don't make it weird, even though I make things super weird all the time. But like in a different way, you guys, it's like a different weird. Okay?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I keep thinking about that too, especially like in the context of the Stationer Summit. And we're talking to the educators, right? About like what it looks like to talk about this during a time when like the world is weird. But what I've reminded everyone is that each person like has that their discretion, no matter what the world looks like, no matter what the situation is. Like whoever you're selling to has their own personal discretion and choice they get to make about buying something. This is true about sales, no matter what the world looks like. So it's like, that's something people have to get past, like selling, even when the world is like quote unquote normal. So it's like, nothing has really changed in terms of like the psychology part about it, except maybe people are a little more nervous to spend money, but they are still can make an educated decision on whether or not that's a product they need right now. It's your responsibility to at least share it. Like if you're not going to like share it or put it out there and no one's going to know about it. And this is just like general marketing, like strategy, Cami. So it's like if Cami had decided that she was going to buy all of those greeting cards and she was going to print all of them and she was going to put them in her shop, but she wasn't going to talk about it on Instagram. She wasn't going to email anybody. She wasn't going to take the extra steps because she was too nervous because of what the world looks like right now. Then she wouldn't have sold them all in a day. So exactly. like that's like nuts. And I think with people being at home more, like people are looking at ways to connect, and a greeting card is the perfect way to do it right now. So like for those of you selling greeting cards, like continue to talk about them, continue to put them out there. I just wrote cards to like all of my family members like a couple days ago. They all are currently in the same house together right now in Colorado, but I wrote an individual card to every single one of them because I have more time.
Yeah, so people will buy the thing if they need the
Yes.
thing, like no matter what. Like it doesn't matter how weird the world is, people will still buy it if they need it. So yeah, which also leads like perfectly into this next point where you're like, okay, but the thing I have is very expensive and no one's spending a lot of money right now. So our next tip is to basically either switch up your marketing plan a little bit or create some new products that are more affordable or at a lower ticket tier of a best-selling item. So for example, I introduced mini pet portraits into my shop, which is something I've never done before. So they're like a mini version. They're 5x7 size of a custom pet portrait instead of an 8x10, and they are $300 instead of $375. And I opened those up for a limited spot. So a lower tier product, but of a best-selling item. It wasn't that I discounted my normal pet portraits. It's just that I created something smaller and more affordable so that I'm not losing revenue on a product that I already like make a good chunk of change on. It's just a smaller, easier, like bite-sized version of that. So for example, if you have like a lot of online courses and like you have like 5 courses, like a 5 bundle video thing. Okay. Maybe you split them up into being like, okay, I'm only going to sell them one. Like it's like the mini, you know what I'm saying? Like splitting it up into little chunks to give your customers still what they need, but at a rate that they can actually afford right now. So you're not discounting your stuff. You're just looking at different ways to market things where they're more affordable.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we need to talk about a little bit too, because I think everyone is kind of automatically shifting to this perspective or this mindset of like, oh, I have to discount my work. Oh, I have to like offer a coupon for this, or I have to do this or that because of what's happening. But we have to be really careful that we're not like devaluing ourselves in the process.
Definitely.
So, especially if you're doing like custom work, don't all of a sudden be like deals for all the weddings right now. Like that's not how you want your business to be set up in the long run. So just because like the world is like panicking and we're going through something super strange doesn't mean that all of a sudden you need to like devalue your offerings in any ways. So I've heard from like several different people now just to like straight up just not discount anything, which I'm like, wow, that's like a cool approach to have, you know, is that they're going to keep like moving forward with what they had originally planned, like marketing wise. And I mean, I know for the Stationer Summit, we're still moving forward with the pricing we have set up for that. We have had people ask about discounts or what that looks like. And we're like, nope, we got to move forward like with the plan that we had set up in the first place. And people will make, once again, informed decisions about whether or not that's the right thing for them at that time. But Cami, your thing with making like the smaller, lower ticket, like mini pet portraits was brilliant. I loved it. I like freaked out when you did it. And they did sell out, right?
Actually, I still have 4 available, but if you want to get one, you can. Yeah. So basically, I did that because I wanted to pay for this marketing thing I did.
That's another.
So I was like, I need to make $1,000. Like
another topic for another time. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want to talk about that. So yeah, just looking at different ways like that, like so custom work, like the thing with the pet portraits, like I just did. Like maybe for my crest, I might say, oh, I can offer like almost like a semi-custom crest kind of thing and be like, okay, this is what you get, and you don't get any pet portraits with it. You get 3 icons, and just make it like a lot more like nuanced and like more boundaries, and make it like at a lower rate. Like I could do things like that. Like we talked about this in the Creative 3 Summit, but to stay inside the box but look in the corners. And I think in those corners there are those like smaller ticket offerings where you can just kind of like pivot and adapt a little bit. And I know people are like, well, have asked us like, how are you guys like staying afloat? What are you doing to like diversify revenue, bring in more income streams? I'm like, I'm really not. I'm just looking at what I already have and figuring out the best way to market that and for this point, or just adapt it a little bit where it's more approachable. I mean, huge companies are doing this, you guys. Like think about Disney, or is it Disney? Yeah. So like that movie Onward that was supposed to go out in theaters, like their big Pixar movie. Is it Onward or is it Upward?
Right.
I don't even know.
I think it's Onward. We wanted to see it in theaters, but didn't happen.
Yeah, like theaters are closed. So Disney shifted to release it via Disney Plus because we're all at home. Like they had to make those huge shifts. Like that's a ginormous company taking a ginormous thing and pivoting it to fit the marketplace and fit their audience better right now. And like that's something we can take and filter it through perspective of our own business, of what we can be doing to just kind of like shift and adapt, not completely changing the game. It's not like Disney went out and was like, we're selling Disney themed face masks or whatever. Like they are still doing their things in a different avenue. So I want to encourage you guys to kind of look at things like that and not necessarily panicking, thinking you need to like start selling, essential
I
oils.
have to
or
say,
whatever.
though, I have to say that it has been really cool seeing companies step up to provide medical supplies, even though they're not a medical company. So there's like wedding planners out there right now who have like teamed up with their friends to sew masks for local hospitals. And I'm like, that is really cool. Like
Yeah.
if you have the time to like give back in your business that way and do that. And I'm like, hey, if Disney did make some like masks, that'd be freaking awesome because there's like such limited supply right
Well, they
now.
would probably
But you're
sell.
right that like Disney's not doing something like Disney PB&Js, like, something that's like so random, like making their own, like, those little like Smuckers, like,
Mickey Mouse Uncrustables.
They're not, that's like so like
Oh,
far out there, like not doing that.
I know.
But for those of you who are listening to this later, you have the full scope of everything that we talked about. And hopefully this was really helpful for you to understand how you can continue to move forward in your business during a time that is really wonky and weird. And honestly, like I'll be the first to say this, Cami, like it even feels weird like giving advice on this because like no one truly knows like anything. So half of me is like, we're just like talking out of our butts here. But it's like, I've seen some people who are like literally marketing like paid sessions on how to handle a crisis. And I'm like, can you really even be like charging for that? Because like no one has experienced anything like this in their life. So it's kind of interesting that I do feel like there are people that have taken it in a way that they're like marketing things in a way that I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't want to like bash on anybody.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
using it to their advantage. It's hard to like walk that line, right? Of like, how do I continue to like sell and keep my business afloat without like taking advantage of the situation? And that's kind of like a fine line to walk to.
Yeah, but I think like it goes with like the heart and intention behind it, and people can see through that kind of stuff.
Agreed.
So, but yeah, anyway, you guys, we do feel weird giving advice for sure. Like I definitely feel like very impostery right now, but it's not like we're giving advice. We're just sharing our own things of what we're doing and how we're handling it. And no one can say that's not true because that's what I'm doing. So you know what? That's fine. But anyway, we want to just say like, we are here for you and we support you. And we know like things are crazy. We're dealing with the craziness too. And we're all in this together. And I'm about to start singing the High School Musical song, but
you can't because according to my brother, it's copyrighted. So
I know, what a party pooper.
He's just giving me a hard time. Yeah,
I know he has to. He's your brother. I guess that's how it works. But anyway, you guys, if you do want to come hang out with us in our online Facebook group, we have lots of fun stuff happening in there. We're doing more lives like this and pajama parties and sharing advice and sharing tips. And it's all part of our A to Z directory membership where we have all of our printers and manufacturers and vendors available. So you can join that at bizbirthdaybash.com/directory. And if you enjoyed our episode, just leave us a rating and review on iTunes because it helps so much for other creatives to find us. And so we can keep continuing to do the Biz Bash podcast.
Yay. Thank you so much, Cami. I think that wraps it up perfectly. So we will see you guys next time.
All right. See you later.
Alligator.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.